Hey everyone, my name is Inanna. Thank you so much for checking out my YouTube channel, or thank you for returning to my YouTube channel. If you already know what's good, you already know what the gig is, you already know what we're here for. Thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. So today I'm not actually going to be showing my face on camera. I know this is like kind of a funky angle that I've got set up here, but I've been cleaning house all day. And so, to be honest with you, I look a little bit grimy and a little bit funky, and I just don't particularly, Let's just say this: I'm doing you a favor by not showing my face today, but I'm still gonna get the message out, still gonna get the message across effectively. Got my cards here ready to go, and so as per the title of this video today, we're gonna be talking about how to deal with the energy of the sign of Scorpio. If you have Scorpio placed prominently in your chart, meaning if you are a Scorpio sun, a Scorpio moon, maybe Scorpio Venus or Mars, then you know how difficult this energy can be to deal with just on a day-to-day basis, because it's hard to respond to daily life situations with Scorpio intensity. It's fucking difficult. All right, so let me just go ahead and ask the cards here. I always like to knock the energy out of them before I start. All right, so can you tell us what is the best way to deal with Scorpio energy when you have it prominently placed in your chart? Let's start with that. How do you deal with Scorpio energy when you have it prominently placed within your chart? I understand that I am terrible at shuffling, and I would just like to ask that no one drags me or that no one reads me for how bad I am at shuffling, because I can still get the job done. Thank you very much. But yes, I know my shuffling skills kind of leave a lot to be desired. I'm aware. All right. How do you deal with the energy of Scorpio? Oh, cut to the Tower card. How do you deal with the energy of Scorpio when it is prominently placed within your birth chart? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the energy of Scorpio when it is prominently placed in your birth chart? Alrighty. Dealing with the energy of Scorpio when it is prominently placed in your birth chart. How do we do that? How do Scorpio heavy people handle the intensity of that energy on a day-to-day basis? What do you need to do to feel healthy, to feel happy, to feel sane? Okay. I'm gonna move you back a little bit just so I can spread these cards out here. Dealing with the energy of Scorpio in a birth chart. All right. If you hear that knocking sound, that is my dog trying to get inside. I might get up and grab him in a second just because I know that's gonna super annoy me. Anyway, all right. So dealing with the energy of Scorpio in the birth chart. So the first card we have is the Six of Swords. We have got the Four of Swords. And we have the Page of Swords here. I think I am gonna let my dog in, actually, because he could literally go for hours if I don't open the door and let him in. So just give me one quick second here. Oh shit. Well, now I'm gonna look like a complete ass because there's no way to pause it. There's no way to pause this video, is there? I'm using a new camera and I'm seeing that there's no way to pause it. Give me 1 sec. I'm sorry about that. Duty calls, if you're a pet parent, you know what I'm talking about. Duty calls. All right, so let's take a look at these cards. So the first card that I pulled was the Six of Swords. And actually, before I start, I also want to say it is interesting that all of these are swords cards. So swords specifically relate to your intellect, your mind, your mental stability or the lack thereof. And usually with swords, it's kind of like a more negative, God, I'm a little bit tired. What's the word I'm looking for? Usually swords are like a more negative manifestation of mental illness, mental problems, anxiety, etc., etc. So right off the bat, what I'm seeing here is that for Scorpios, there's a lot of anxiety there on a day-to-day basis. This is a sign that feels very doesn't really feel contented most of the time, or doesn't really feel at peace. And I have a Scorpio moon, so I completely understand that, and I completely feel that vibe and understand where that comes from. It's very hard to relax. So the first card that we pulled here, again, Six of Swords. So this is pointing to the fact that Scorpios need to take time to maybe reassess where they are at in life. This is the card, or this is a sign of transformation, of changes, of assessing what you created for yourself, who you are, the people that you have around you, and considering whether or not you want to keep those connections, those people, those personality archetypes, or if you want to change them. So the Six of Swords is all about a transition or a change or a rite of passage. So the cards are basically saying that the best way to utilize this energy in a healthy manifestation is to really embrace and delve into the way that Scorpio is able to transmute any negative emotions that they may be feeling, or any negative personality traits that they may have, or any negative experiences that they may have, into something worthwhile and something that is needed and something that becomes beneficial and beautiful. Scorpio is the sign of the scorpion, obviously, but they're also symbolized by the phoenix rising from the ashes. So I've mentioned this in past videos, but part of the reason why Scorpios are so emotionally intense is because it's part of the lessons they have to learn while they're on Earth, especially if you're a Scorpio who also has the North Node in Scorpio. Your lesson, your journey, the journey that your soul has to take, again, Six of Swords is all about going on a journey, okay? So the journey that your soul has to take while it is here on Earth is one of developing emotional strength and emotional stability. Because Scorpio is a water sign. So the water signs are all about emotion, sensitivity, intuition, like feeling. These are INF types, right? But there's different facets of water. So Cancer, for example, which is the first water sign of the zodiac, Cancer would be like still water. You know, like still waters run deep, as the saying goes. Like they're still they're peaceful, but at the same time it's still the element of water. Like there's still a lot of opportunities for things to like rock the boat, or for it to be disturbed, or what have you. But as a whole, it's like steady, it's stable, and it knows what job it has to do. Pisces, which is the last water sign of the zodiac, would be the ocean. So it's constantly in motion, constantly flowing, constantly picking things up and pulling things in and letting things out again. Like it is in a state of constant ebb and flow. And Pisces is constantly picking up on the emotions of other people around them as well. It's a very, very intuitive sign. Scorpio would be ice. So Scorpio is like an iceberg. So, you know, when you see an iceberg on the horizon, you're only looking at the tip of it. And there's so much more below the surface that goes so incredibly deep down. But it's hard to penetrate. It is hard to break through that icy exterior. Okay. So, yeah, again, with the Six of Swords here, I literally don't even... Aquarius brain, sorry. I literally don't even remember specifically why I brought that analogy up. There was a point that I was trying to make there, but regardless, Six of Swords relating to going on a journey, learning emotional strength. That's why I brought up the... I'm an air sign, what can I say? That's why I brought up the iceberg analogy. Because Scorpios have to learn how to develop that for themselves. They have to learn how to develop that impenetrable, icy exterior. They have to learn how to grow strong. They have to learn how to be able to take a lot of shit, because a lot of shit tends to happen to those who have prominently placed Scorpio energy in their charts. This is a sign of Pluto. Pluto is associated with Hades, the god of the underworld. Pluto is the underworld itself. So with Scorpionic people, the themes that they live out in their lives are constantly going into the depths of themselves, of humanity, of existence, venturing into the underworld in order to come out of it victorious on the other side, in order to be the phoenix that rises from the ashes, in order to foster that impenetrable emotional strength. They have to go through the depths of hell in order for that to happen. So with scorpionic people, a lot of the time, what you'll notice about them is they seem to be dealing with a lot of shit at once. It's not the same with Capricorn, because Capricorn is kind of like an unlucky sign almost. Like if Jupiter, the ninth sign, is like the luckiest. Not Jupiter, Sagittarius, the ninth sign ruled by Jupiter, is the luckiest sign of the zodiac. Then the preceding sign, Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, the 10th sign of the zodiac, is the unluckiest, because Saturn is all about teaching us hard life lessons. The influence of Saturn is similar to that of a stern paternal figure who's like, why are you fucking up? Stop fucking up. I'm going to teach you a lesson until you get your shit together. Okay. So the influence of Pluto is not quite as difficult as the influence of Saturn. But part of that is also because Scorpios and Scorpionic people are hardwired to be able to handle that better. Like Capricorns have to learn along the way how to handle it. Scorpios are born into this world just being aware of that energy. So it's easier for them to take it in stride, is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, so this is part of your soul's journey, is to develop this emotional strength and to develop the ability to separate strength from intellect, because Scorpio is also a highly, highly intellectual sign. And this intellect comes from their predisposition towards psychology and understanding the human mind and how people work and what makes people tick. So embrace that side of yourself as well. Like you can lean into your intuition and transmute it into something that manifests more so as like hard and fast intellect or intelligence. So that would be for the Six of Swords. Now, the next card I pulled for you guys is the Four of Swords. So this is the card of rest, of relaxation, of meditation, of taking time for yourself, to be by yourself and to be at peace. Going back to what I said earlier on in this video, Scorpio is a very, very high-strung sign, especially if you have it in your moon or your Venus sign. Like a Scorpio rising, like you do kind of get a little bit of the same intensity, inward intensity that, a Scorpio sun or moon or what have you might feel, but you're more disconnected from it. You're more detached from it because it's less a part of you and more so a part of how others see you, what you project into the world, how others respond to you. But for people who have personal planets in Scorpio, it is a part of them and it is what they feel and experience on a day-to-day basis. So with the Four of Swords, it is acknowledging that Scorpio energy is very difficult to deal with and can be very draining. And again, Scorpio people tend to be very high-strung because they understand, again, going into this life, when they are born into this life, they have a natural understanding and inclination towards the darker side of humanity. Because Scorpio is such a dark sign and it is so intensely associated with the underworld, and Scorpio is very, very intuitive energy. So they automatically know kind of how fucked up people can be. And I'm being a little fatalistic in my description of this, but that's so you can get the gist of it. Like they have an innate fascination and understanding of, let's say serial killers or death or the supernatural, the occult, the paranormal, what have you. Like they are instinctively drawn to all of that because it is a part of their framework. It is very closely interwoven into the fabric that makes them who they are. It is part of their soul and part of their essence to understand and know these things because, again, Pluto is the king of the underworld. And yeah, Pluto is the sign of Scorpio. Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio. So the Four of Swords is basically saying, look, I understand that this can weigh on you a lot. This can get very heavy dealing with this stuff on a day-to-day basis, constantly feeling paranoid, constantly feeling like people may or may not be out to get you, constantly psychoanalyzing people, overanalyzing situations, trying to get to the bottom of everything. Look, sometimes there's nothing to get to the bottom of. Sometimes things just are the way they are and people are the way they are. And to constantly search incessantly for something even when it's just very surface level and is what it is, it can make you ill. It can make you sick. It can really agitate your anxiety. It can drive you on a path of illness, because your body is constantly in a state of being so easily worked up, and it's working so hard to discern things and draw out information in others, that you could eventually like hit a wall where your body's just like, I'm done, enough. Like, we need to be still. We need to be calm. We need to be at peace. We need to not worry so much. Scorpio worries so goddamn much. And in addition to that, it's a sign that can be very, like in the lower vibrational manifestations of it, it can be a very vindictive sign. It can be a sign that looks to seek revenge. It can be a very angry sign, or a sign that gets very viscerally worked up very, very easily. Because, the co-ruler of Scorpio used to be Mars, and Mars is associated with Aries, the god of war. So Scorpios do kind of have that hawkish mentality to them, where they're ready to fucking like square up, like anytime, anywhere. Not always, but usually, like, Scorpios refuse to be lied to, be cheated, be disrespected, be poorly treated. Just immediately the image that's coming to mind is the Beyonce music video for Hold Up, her song Hold Up, where she's like in the yellow dress, and then she just like takes like a baseball bat to a fire hydrant. Or if you've listened to Lemonade at all, like there's a lot of like heavy Scorpio themes throughout that album, because Beyonce is the Scorpio moon. So it's like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, these people are like, if you fuck with me, I will fuck with you, and I will do it 10 times worse than you could ever even comprehend of doing on your own to me. So the Four of Swords is like, don't fucking do that. The Four of Swords is like, relax. The Four of Swords is asking you to chill out, to be calm. This guy, he's taking a nap. He's relaxing. He's taking time for himself. He's trying to be tranquil. He's trying to be at peace. He's trying to do so for his health. So do this for your health, Scorpios. Just relax, meditate, take time to be on your own, take time to be by yourself, journal, listen to relaxing music, garden, spend time in tranquil environments, hike. If you live near the ocean, go to the beach. Do anything that's going to put you in a peaceful frame of mind, because when you have Scorpio energy, you have to find an outlet for it. Remember what I said earlier about how it's difficult to respond to day-to-day situations with intense Scorpio energy. You just can't do it. The situation absolutely does not call for it. So you can't always be at a 10, is basically what I'm saying. Like, sometimes you have to scale it back a little bit for the sake of not only the people around you who may be like kind of freaked out or may not respond to you very well because you are being so intense in any given situation, but for your own health as well. You don't want to make yourself sick. You don't want to give yourself an aneurysm. You don't want to burn yourself out. You just want to be chill and calm, and just learn how to direct your energy better, which is also, good segue bringing me to the Page of Swords cards, because the Page of Swords is all about finding new ways of communication, finding new ways to talk to people, finding new ways to express yourself. So tying that into what I was literally just saying, like, find different ways to exert that energy. Because the thing about Scorpio energy is, as I mentioned earlier, it's very, there is a consistent potential for transmutation and transformation there, which is the beauty of this sign. The beauty of this sign lies in the ability to see what isn't there and restructure it and redevelop it in healthy ways, not only for yourself, but for other people around you, or other people who may need your help, okay? So with this Page of Swords here, it's saying, hey, look, if you are someone who is having trouble dealing with the energy of Scorpio, because everyone with Scorpio energy reaches that point where it just feels like it's too much. You can't handle what's going on around you. People stress you out. You just want to retreat into a cave and like put a pillow over your head and just be done with it and just like fucking live as a hermit. Like, every Scorpio person or Scorpionic person has that propensity or that desire for that level of stagnation. because social interaction can be so incredibly draining when you are constantly feeling the emotions of others, when you're constantly on edge because you're trying to suss out different situations and figure out like who's, capable of being trusted and who isn't, or, who is worthy of your time or your stories or your vulnerability. Because that's the other thing, like Scorpios really only know how to connect and communicate with people by way of intense exchanges of energy. One of my best friends is a Scorpio sun. And every time we get together, like, it doesn't matter if we're at a party, at a restaurant, an event, doesn't fucking matter. We always end up sitting in a corner by ourselves, just talking about really dark and heavy shit. And my friend's partner, he's an Aquarius sun, and I haven't looked at his entire chart, so I'm not sure what other placements he has, but he's very like light and easygoing, and very talkative, very friendly with other people. And like anytime we all go to these events as a group, he'll always make it known that he's kind of confused by the fact that she and I don't really like interact with the large group as a whole, and why we constantly just get into like these really heavy, dark conversations about like just like really heavy shit. You know what I mean? And the reason for this is because when you're in that kind of environment as a Scorpio, like you have an innate awareness that people are going to be turned off by that. It's like you innately understand that people will say, wow, I just asked her, where did you get that shirt from? And then she went on this conversation about, politics in Lebanon and how it's destroying the economy or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? It's like that's not the natural response for most people, which is why I think Scorpio people can always feel so isolated or so alone, maybe more so than other signs of the zodiac. Like, there are a few signs, Aquarius is another one, speaking of which, that can genuinely just feel like totally alone because the way that they think and process and understand the world around them is just hardwired like completely differently from everyone else. And Scorpio is one of those signs. So there's an innate understanding that their way of communicating with people, their way of talking to others, their way of connecting with other people is all based on depth. Maybe sometimes depth that isn't necessarily earned in every single situation. Maybe depth that is uncalled for. Like, there is a little bit of social awkwardness to the sign of Scorpio. Like, I certainly believe that. So, it's difficult for them to communicate with other people. So I think that ultimately you have to find a way to transmute that energy for every single social situation, because not every person that you will meet is going to want to get into a really heavy, in-depth conversation, or honestly, not even everyone wants to like get their shit figured out or like come to you for advice. And I know a lot of people will go to Scorpios for advice because they are so good at giving it, but not everyone is going to want that at every single time. So if you are also a person who's running into issues of like feeling totally isolated or feeling like you don't really have anyone or you can't trust anyone, the Page of Swords is here just to encourage you to open up more, to encourage you to be more communicative with others, to encourage you to just try to like continue to have intellectual discussions, but make sure that they are appropriate for every single situation. And express yourself emotionally is another thing that I really want to hammer in there before I go. Emotionally express yourself, because Scorpios also have a tendency to not say what they're feeling. And so then it fosters and it sits in them and it builds and builds and builds until it just like comes out in this explosion of energy, which is why Scorpios always appear so intense, because they have all of this like crazy, deep, heavy shit that they feel on a daily basis that they're suppressing because they don't want to look weak. They don't want to appear weak to other people. They don't want to show their weak spots to other people because they don't trust other people. And their constant concern is that if I show my weak spot to someone, then they'll drive that knife in and twist it, and then, they'll fuck me over and blah, 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 blah. And they can't handle the betrayal that would come from that. Like, betrayals break them. So in order to protect themselves, they, create this, think of the scorpion as a bug. It has this hard outer shell, but, obviously it's just a bunch of like fleshy gooiness on the inside. So express yourself emotionally. If you are feeling something especially for you Scorpio moons, because y'all have fucking issues with this. And again, I'm a Scorpio moon, so I know what it's like. Express yourself emotionally. Like if you're dealing with something that is too much for you to handle, and you know it's too much for you to handle alone, reach out to other people. Put yourself in a position where you're making yourself emotionally available to other people around you, rather than just constantly expecting that everyone make themselves emotionally available to you, because that's not how it works. That's not how human relationships work. There is a give and take there. And if you want that intensity and that closeness and that exchange of energy and the exchange of vulnerability, then you have to put some out. It's a give and take. So if that's what you want, that's what you have to put out into the universe in order to get it back to you. So take risks, trust people, be comfortable with expressing yourself, be comfortable with letting people into your world, be comfortable with being open with people. Don't be so concerned. I know I literally just got into this like long ass conversation about how, you shouldn't get into really heavy conversations with people. But if you meet someone and you vibe with them, and this could be like a friend, a romantic partner, or anything really, a colleague, take a chance and put yourself out there. Because the other thing that we all know about Scorpios is that they are incredibly magnetic, and people cannot help but be drawn to them. Even if they are freaked out by them or intimidated by them or made uncomfortable by them in some way, shape, or fashion, they're still intrinsically drawn to them. So that will never be a problem for you. People are always going to want to be around you. People are always going to be attracted to you. People are always going to go to you for insight, because the way that your mind works, the things that you have to say, the way that you communicate, just the way that you are, you and your ultimate sense of being is magnetic to others. So have faith in yourself and have faith in that and trust yourself and take those leaps and take those steps to be communicative rather than to be quiet and reserved. Try to externalize what you're feeling rather than just holding on to it, and let things go. Practice letting things go as well. Practice, again, journaling, going to therapy, what have you, doing a release exercise, cord cutting practices, whatever you need in order to let go. Because, again, Four of Swords is the card of health. This guy is bedridden, and look, his head is bandaged up. He's ill. He's sick, and he needs to rest. He needs peace. So the cards are saying if you keep on this road of constant intensity, you will make yourself sick. So find a way to let go, find a way to be vulnerable with others, find a way to communicate, find a way to better express yourself in a healthier way, and live in the higher vibrational manifestation of this energy where you are helping to transform others and helping to form deep, long-lasting connections with others. All right? Okay, Scorpio. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it was helpful for you. I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but if you guys are interested, I do have a blog. It's called The Mecca of Modern Mysticism, and it will be linked down below in the description box if you want to check out any more of my content. I have a lot of really informative articles there about like astrology, tarot, magic, etc., etc. Anything related to mysticism or the occult, you will be able to find it there. Yeah, and if you liked what you see, liked what you saw, like what you heard in this video, please leave a comment, please like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hopefully I will be seeing you guys again real soon. Take care.